Hello everyone, my name is Sarafi and I'm happy to meet you all, and today we're going to be playing Dragonmaids. This is a pure Dragonmaid list that I recommend to you guys. I want to show you guys what you can do with a brand new set of cards from the box. Nothing extra, nothing special. This deck and this skill are very good, so you don't really need to worry about too much extra. Now, the list that I am playing has 2 runs through the box, but you can easily make it 1 run through the box if you just take the number of Dragonmaid Hospitalities to 2 and then replace it with a second copy of Dragonmaid Tidying. Okay. Alright. So with that in mind, let's take a look at the deck, the skill, and see what we can do. The skill is called Maid's Downtime. You can use this skill's second and third effects once per duel. If your deck, excluding the extra deck, contains 8 or more different monsters that are earth, water, fire, or wind Dragonmaid monsters. That is probably the most complicated deck building restriction we've ever had. What does that look like? It means that you have to play 1 each, at least, of Dragonmaid Lorpar, Dragonmaid Tinkek, Dragonmaid Kitchen, Parlor Dragonmaid, Dragonmaid Ernest, Dragonmaid Nude Jarl, Dragonmaid Laundry, and Nurse Dragonmaid. So, that means that you can't skip water. A lot of Dragonmaid decks like to skip water. They just don't particularly like Dragonmaid Laundry Dragonmaid. She's not very effective for the deck. It also means that you can't skip Nurse. Now, personally, I think Nurse is a good card, but I do agree that Nurse's dragon form is technical. So you have to play 1 of each of them, which is fine. You can get away with 1 of each of them because they're all pretty searchable, especially with the skill. And then you should play 3 Parlor because she is the best one despite not having red hair. I'm sorry, Kitchen. I apologize. I love redheads, but Parlor has you beat, unfortunately. Now, alright. You cannot normal or special summon monsters with a level except for Dragonmaid monsters. Okay, so not only can you not special summon like Nibiru the Primal Being, for example, but you can't fusion summon monsters that are Dragonmaids. It doesn't say excluding from the extra. It says a monster with a level. So you're cut out of Synchro Summoning. You're cut out of Fusion Summoning, except for Dragonmaids. All you can do is summon Dragonmaid monsters as well as Xyz and Link monsters. Are those good? No. If we get hieratic seals, maybe. But we're not getting hieratic seals. We just had our hieratic box. So there's literally no time they could have added hieratic seals except for right now. Hieratics are done. We're never getting seals. Send 1 dragon monster from your hand to the graveyard. Then add 1 Dragonmaid monster from your deck to your hand. Okay, this part is interesting. So it does say that you can choose any dragon monster, not just a Dragonmaid monster. I don't know what dragon monster you would play that isn't a Dragonmaid. Hold on. I'm cooking in real time, chat. Sorry. Where is it? Okay. So if you pitch double Disruptor Dragon, you can banish it to add Rapid Trigger. And if you add Rapid Trigger, you can make Show that's unaffected. That's not bad, to be honest. That's not the worst thing in the world. Okay. All right. Where was I? If only your opponent controls a card, set one Dragonmaid downtime from your hand, deck, or graveyard. This card can be activated this turn. So since it can set from the graveyard, you literally only need to play one of this. Okay. You can buy the skill from the trader, by the way. All right. So for the main deck, we are playing one copy of Chamber Dragonmaid. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add one Dragonmaid spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which will almost always be your changeover so that you can start fusion summoning. If you already have changeover, grab welcome. At the start of the battle phase, you can return this card to the hand, and if you do, special summon one level 7 or higher Dragonmaid monster from your hand or your graveyard. You can only use each effect once per turn. Great! Chamber Dragonmaid is an excellent card. You can trigger her effect when she is special summoned. You have multiple ways to special summon her. You can special summon her off of Nurse Dragonmaid. You can special summon her off of Dragonmaid E. Airness. You can special summon her off of House Dragonmaid. You can special summon her off of Show. There are lots of ways that you can special summon the Chamber and trigger her effect. You want to do it every turn. Dragonmaid Lord Par. This is a level 8 wind monster. All of the Dragonmaid high-level monsters have cannot be destroyed by card effects while you control a fusion monster. Lord Par has, you can discard this card to target one face-up monster on the field. Players cannot activate that target's effects on the field this turn. So you can literally just make it so that your opponent cannot activate a monster's effects for the rest of the turn. Pretty useful. At the end of the battle phase, you can return this card to your hand, and if you do, special summon a level 3 Dragonmaid from your hand. So, the higher level Dragonmaids can only change forms into a monster that is 5 levels lower than them. And the Dragonmaids that are not Chamber can only transform into a dragon that is 5 levels higher than them. That means that Laundry and Nurse can swap, and Kitchen and Parlor can swap. But if you do that, you have no respect for lore. Only go color by color. Red to red, green to green, blue to blue, and brown to brown. If you do anything else, you are a loser. Just saying. Alright. Dragonmaid Tinkhek. This is a level 8 fire dragon monster. As a quick effect, you can discard this card, target one Dragonmaid you control, and it gains 2,000 attack points until the end of the turn. Obviously, you can activate this card during the damage step. That makes it a very dangerous cantrip indeed. And then it returns and you can summon a level 3. Kitchen. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add one Dragonmaid monster from your deck to your hand except Kitchen, then send one Dragonmaid monster from your hand to the graveyard. So you can draw any Dragonmaid you want, but then you have to pitch a Dragonmaid from your hand. If you don't have any other Dragonmaids, you will typically use this to draw a high-level dragon and pitch it. If you do have other Dragonmaids, you could draw a high-level dragon, and then you would either, if you have changeover, keep the high-level dragon so you can make show, or if you don't have changeover, you'll probably pitch the high-level dragon so that you can revive it with your Kitchen during your opponent's turn. At the start of the battle phase, she can shift into a level 8. Parlor. If this card is normal or special summon, you can send one Dragonmaid card from your deck to the graveyard except Parlor. So Kitchen is very similar to Parlor, but Parlor can mill anything. Parlor doesn't just mill monsters. So Parlor can mill Changeover, which can be added to your graveyard from the hand. She can mill Downtime, which can be set with your skill. And she can mill Tidying, and you can banish Tidying to special summon a Dragonmaid from your hand or graveyard in defense position. So Parlor has a lot of useful effects. Obviously, putting a dragon in the graveyard is also very good. So you probably want to play her at 3 if you don't have 3 chambers. And then at the start of the battle phase, she can shift into a level 8. Dragonmaid Airness. As a quick effect, you can discard this card to special summon a level 4 or lower Dragonmaid from your hand. It is interesting to be able to special summon a level 4 during your opponent's turn, especially on their turn 1. It gives you some options for, setting up your board, potentially triggering Chamber or Parlor very early, giving you a lot of extra advantage. And having a monster on the board does set you up for some interesting options. Being able to potentially, link summon or tribute summon without starting a chain, So, I like the idea of being able to special summon during your opponent's turn. Airness has never typically been played in like a pure Dragonmaid list because it's a 40 card list. But in a pure 20 card list, I think Airness earns her slots just barely. New Jarl. You can discard this card, then target one monster in either graveyard and shuffle it into the deck. Probably the weakest Dragonmaid effect by far, and she can shift into a level 2 at the end of the battle phase. Laundry. If this card is normal or special summon, you can mill 3. In a pure Dragonmaid list, that's not great. You have a lot of ways to mill. You have Kitchen and you have Parlor. So you can targeted mill what you want. Laundry, yes, milling a card is usually good for you, but not always. And hitting 3 cards, it does increase the chances that you'll probably get some value out of it, but you could also really hit a card that you need. And if we're only playing 1 copy of Dragonmaid Welcome, for example, which we are, then this becomes a liability. So Laundry is a card I would not play in most instances, unless I didn't have a choice. And even then, I might not even trigger her effect. She can shift into a level 7. Nurse. If this card is normal or special summon, you can target one level 4 or lower Dragonmaid monster in your graveyard and special summon it. I am so glad this card does not miss timing, because this sounds like exactly the type of effect Konami would have made that missed timing just to mess with us. Okay. At the start of the battle phase, you can return this card to your hand, and if you do, special summon a level 7 from your hand or graveyard. Okay, so being able to special summon Nurse during your opponent's turn, which will allow you to bring back another level 4, is very, very good. You can build a wall, you can trigger a bunch of effects. Nurse is just like a really good card. She's the main reason that Dragonmaids can reliably link summon. I do not think link summoning is a good idea. Okay, I promise you guys, I've looked at the deck, I've looked at your options. I don't think that link summoning is smart because of board restrictions. We only have 4 slots. You really should try and save your extra monster zone for a fusion monster. I don't think that any of the link monsters that are currently in the game have enough value that they can take the spot of Show or House. So don't bother. Dragonmaid Hospitality. This card is fantastic. Played at 3. Special summon 1 Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position. Then you can send 1 Dragonmaid monster with the same attribute but a different level from your deck to the graveyard. You can only activate 1 Dragonmaid Hospitality per turn. So this is not required, which means that you can use it to bring back Chamber Dragonmaid. If it was required, you would not be able to bring back Chamber Dragonmaid with this because there's no dark monsters in the deck. But, so, you can revive any monster from your hand or your graveyard, and if you do, you trade forms. So if you summon Lorpar, you can mill Parlor. If you summon Tinkek, you can mill Kitchen. If you summon Airness, you can mill Dragonmaid, or Nurse. If you summon Jarl, you can mill Laundry. And the reverse is true. Kitchen, mill Tinkek. Parlor, mill Lopar. Nurse, mill Airness. Laundry, mill Jarl. So, excellent. This is a really good card. It's really, really strong and very consistent. I mean, setting up your graveyard is fantastic. You know, whether you want... Because the thing is, even though your higher level dragons can only special summon from the hand, not the graveyard, it still benefits you to have your low level dragons in the graveyard for cards like Dragonmaid Welcome or Dragonmaid Hospitality again. And that is the reason why you play Dragonmaid Hospitality at 3, so you can play it multiple times. So, yeah, great card. Okay, Dragonmaid Changeover. I am so glad this card is a rare. I was really scared they were going to mess with us and make this a super. Dragonmaid Changeover. Fusion summon 1 Dragon Fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material. While this card is in your graveyard, you can target 1 Dragonmaid monster you control, add this card to your hand, and if you do, return that monster to the hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. That's pretty interesting. Being able to bounce a monster to... get a Dragonmaid Changeover back is pretty good. You might not even play Changeover after you bounce. You might keep it as extra fuel, but bouncing one of your monsters could potentially trigger House to pop a card, or it could give you the ability to trigger a normal summon effect again, like maybe you bounce your Chamber Dragonmaid, then you normal summon her and you draw another card. Yeah, potentially. It depends on what you have on the board and how long the card's been there. So yeah, Changeover's effects, both of them are really strong. Dragonmaid Send-Off. This is probably the weakest card in the deck, so it's questionable about whether you play this at all or not. I do think having it at 1 is better than not, just because you can search it when you need it. But the times that I've played it haven't been amazing. Target a Dragonmaid you control, special summon one Dragonmaid monster with a different name from your hand in defense position. And if you do, return the targeted monster to your hand. The special summon monster cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects until the end of the next turn. You can only activate one Dragonmaid send-off per turn. So the main benefit of send-off is that it allows you to trigger your normal summon effects or your special summon effects multiple times in one turn. Like, let's say that you're going first, and you don't really have, like, an amazing hand, but you do have both Chamber and Parlor. So maybe you normal summon Chamber first, and you draw Welcome, and then you play Send-Off, and you special summon Parlor, and then you use Parlor to mill, let's say, your Changeover. Then you can use Welcome to return Changeover to your hand, so you don't have to pay the cost of Changeover, Fusion Summon, then potentially bounce Parlor to get the Changeover back as well. You know, that could potentially give you some better plays than whatever you had going first, depending on your hand. So I feel like Send Off, because it can trigger both Chamber and Parlor in the same turn, or Kitchen and Parlor in the same turn, or even Nurse and Kitchen in the same turn. Like, it gives you some options if your hand is flooded with the human forms. But that might not be good enough, to be honest. Dragonmaid Welcome. This card has the best art. I love the art. Can I zoom on this any further? This is literally just House, like, saying that all 4 of the dragons should attack, and the implication, since it's called Dragonmaid Welcome, is, oh, our master is home. Everyone go greet him, and then, like, they all turn into dragons and charge at the front door, like I don't know, like a puppy that's waiting for their master to come home. It's great, and you can see that actually House is, like, barely holding herself back. Her wings have popped out, and there's, like, a glint there, so she's like a second away from turning into show as well. It looks so funny. Anyway, Dragonmaid Welcome. Continuous spell. All monsters you control gain 100 attack and defense for each Dragonmaid you control. Cool. If you control 2 or more Dragonmaids, you can target one Dragonmaid card in your graveyard and add it to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. That's amazing recursion, especially since you can search this card off of Chamber, and you can recycle Chamber so much. So, since you can recycle Chamber so much, this is a great card to play at 1, just because it basically helps you win the game. Yes, it's a win more card, but when you can search literally every turn, win more cards are excellent to play at 1. If this card is sent to the graveyard, your opponent cannot target Dragonmaid cards you control with card effects until the end of the turn. This is a mandatory effect, which is interesting. And it's not just from the field to the graveyard. So you can actually trigger this off of Parlor. So if you normal summon Parlor, you can mill Welcome, and then just say, okay, well, now that I've milled Welcome, my monsters can't be targeted for the rest of the turn. Even if you don't do anything else with your Parlor, by summoning Parlor and milling Welcome, you've essentially given yourself targeting protection for the turn, which can be very beneficial to you. So that's an interesting interaction. Dragonmaid Downtime, one copy. This is a continuous trap. You can target a Dragonmaid monster you control, then activate one of these effects. Either return it to the hand, and if you do, add one Dragonmaid card from your deck to your hand. Except Downtime, any card, not just a trap card, or not just a monster card. So that's great. Or return to the hand, and if you do, return one spell or trap your opponent controls to the hand. Now, you might be wondering, okay, both these effects return a monster to the hand, so why is it, like, bulleted this way? Well, the reason why is because the return to hand does not trigger until resolution. That means if your opponent negates Downtime, you do not return the monster to your hand, which is pretty good, actually. It means that you don't have to really worry about targeting your monster for cost, because if your opponent interrupts your effect, you don't lose the monster. You don't go minus. This is actually written very well. It also doesn't target the spell or trap, so that means that if you declare that you're going to return a card... actually, I don't think you have to declare... No, you do have to declare. So you're going to say that you're returning it to the hand, and if you do return one spell or trap your opponent controls to the hand, your opponent can respond to that by activating one of their spells or traps to try and save, get use out of it. But then you can just use you can just bounce a different spell or trap. So since you don't have to target, it gives you a lot more control over, you know, your opponent's ability to respond to it. And then just drawing extra cards is fantastic. Lastly, we're playing Tidying at 1. Target 1 dragon monster you control and 1 card your opponent controls or that is in their graveyard. Return both of them to the hand. And you can banish this card from your graveyard to special summon a Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position, but return to the hand during the end phase. Again, if you mill this with Parlor, it gives you extra extension, which can be really good. So just a good card all over. Okay. Extra deck, we have Dragonmaid Show. 1 Dragonmaid monster plus 1 level 5 or higher dragon monster. 3,500 attack points, level 10 light. During each standby phase, you can special summon 1 level 9 or lower Dragonmaid monster from your hand or your graveyard. That's dumb. So literally just trigger your Chamber, trigger your Parlor, trigger your Tinkek, whatever you want. Just get it out and keep it alive. When your opponent activates a card or effect, any card or effect, spell, trap, or monster, as a quick effect, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy the card. Also, after that, return this card to the extra deck, and if you do, special summon a House Dragonmaid from your extra deck. So she changes forms after she's negated a card and destroyed it, which is amazing. Now, after she changes forms, she becomes House Dragonmaid. House Dragonmaid is a level 9 light fusion monster, 3,000 attack, 2,000 defense. It's a fusion of 1 Dragonmaid plus 1 dragon. Once per turn during the standby phase, you can target 1 other Dragonmaid monster you control, special summon a Dragonmaid monster from your hand or graveyard who in defense position whose level is 1 higher or 1 lower than it. So, you can't target House herself unless you have 2. So you choose, like, if you choose Lorpar, for example, which is level 8, you can bring back your Nerd Jarl or your Ernest. If you choose Parlor, you can special summon either Chamber or Nurse. If you choose Nurse, you can summon Parlor or Kitchen Maid, or Kitchen, like, so it lets you, like, instead of shifting between 2 and 7 and 3 and 8, it lets you add between 2 and 3, 3 and 4, 7 and 8, and 8 and 7s, which is that's kind of cool. It's like a different interaction. It makes you think a little bit more. When another face-up dragon monster you control returns to the hand except during the damage step, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls and destroy it. Good effect. Is that not once per turn? That is not once per turn. You can pop cards as much as you want. That's insane. Okay. All right, fantastic. So there you go. That is the deck. Let's take a look at the replay. All right, we're going second against Synchrons. Opponent's going to activate Tuning, grab Jet, mill the Synchron Explorer, pitch the Jet to add Synchron Carrier, set the Synchro Chase, normal summon Synchron Carrier, normal summon Synchron, bring back the Jet. At this point, we're going to trigger Ernest's quick effect to special summon Laundry, and then we mill 3. And we milled Nurse, Parlor, and Dragonmaid Hospitality, which are all bad. Synchro into the Scarred Warrior, Synchro Chase, bring back the Synchron Carrier, and then use Jet, Synchron Carrier, and Scarred Warrior to go directly into Stardust Dragon for some reason. Then Jet's effect, grab another Junk Synchron, and set 1 and pass. Okay. It's our turn. We draw Changeover, so we're going to immediately activate it. Level 2 and level 7 into Show. Then we'll attack. He activates Magic Cylinder. Now, I could have used Show's effect to negate Magic Cylinder, but since Show destroys a card, if I did that, he would have been able to use Stardust Dragon's effect to destroy my Show and negate it. So I just had to take the 1750 on the face. It's the opponent's turn. I activate Show's effect during the standby phase to revive Parlor. Parlor mill the Lorpar so that she can change forms. He's going to activate his skill, send the Stardust to the graveyard, and then send the 2. Then he's going to return to the extra deck to summon the Lifestream Dragon, and Synchro into the level 12 Shooting Quasar Dragon. Unfortunate for us. He enters the battle phase. I'm going to declare the effect of Parlor Dragonmaid to return it to the hand so that she can shift into Lorpar. This does not cause any problems for him. It's literally, all it would do is it would give me a monster for next turn, because he can still just beat over the Lorpar and beat over the Show. But he decides to try and negate this because he assumes I don't have any other effects. And when he decides to negate it, I can use Show to negate his negates. Quasar is destroyed. I summon House. I summon Lorpar, and he concedes. There you go. That's the power of having an Omni-Negate all the time. My name is Sarafi, and I was thrilled to have all of you with me.